All right, Ms. McKnight, you're good to go.
Good morning. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Good morning, parents, friends. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning as we discuss Title I. As always, in our Title I department, we love Title I. We love Title I. So let's go ahead and dive in and let's get started. Okay, as we begin, we always start with our Newton County vision and mission statements. The vision statement for Newton County is that all students will be well-rounded and prepared for the future. Our mission statement is that the mission of the Newton County school systems is to provide educational excellence for all students. So with that said, our agenda, there are 4 topics that we're going to speak about this morning. We're going to talk about what is Title I. We will define it. We're going to talk about what is family engagement, parent and family engagement meetings, and finally, our stakeholders input meeting. Next slide, please. So what is Title I? I'm glad you all asked. Title I is a federally funded program that provides financial assistance to those schools that have a high percentage of disadvantaged students that are possibly at risk of not meeting the state standards. And with the funding and the financial assistance that we receive from Title I, we want to ensure that all children will meet these state academic content and academic standards. Title I goes a step further, and it provides the additional assistance or the additional resources over and beyond what the district is already providing. What that means is it provides additional resources that will be used to assist the students. And the goal for the county and the goal for each school is that student will make gains, increased gains in the academic areas of reading, ELA, math, science, and social studies. Next slide, please. So Newton County's Title I schools are 13 of our elementary schools. They're listed there to the far left in the green. And then our 5 middle schools, they're listed to the far right in the blue. And our 3 high schools, they're listed in the far right as well in the blue section. So all 21 schools in the Newton County school systems are Title I schools. Next slide, please. So what is a Title I school-wide program? I am so glad you asked. A Title I school-wide program, what it does is it uses the funds to maintain a high quality education services in the core academic areas. And this is so that we can raise the academic achievement for all students at the school. And so we can bridge the gap, raise the academic achievement, and close that educational gap. Next slide, please. What are some of the benefits of having a school-wide program? You guys are asking some great questions. Well, if you're looking at the slide, the first thing here is it provides flexibility in having personnel provide instruction to all students. Remember, we talked about Title I providing financial assistance. Well, the financial assistance given to the schools allows us to hire additional personnel, maybe in a class reduction situation, or maybe to add additional programs so that students will be successful. And remember, we said that our goal, the county's aim is to increase student achievement in those 4 academic areas. Another benefit is that all students have their academic needs met. There's no waiting around if we're looking at class reduction. Some students may require more one-on-one, more teacher to student assistance. Because of the Title I funding assistance that we receive, we are able to provide that for all students in Newton County. And then another benefit is that all staff can participate in professional development. Because of the funding assistance that we receive, as you know, as educators, we're lifelong learners. So we have to be on the cutting edge of every evidence-based resource professional development that's out there so that we can ensure that we are giving our students the top-notch quality education that they deserve, that they are entitled to. And we put all of our energy, all of our resources, everything it is that we have into ensuring that our students meet and exceed our state performance standards. Next slide, please. So, what is family engagement? Well, family engagement is just the participation of parents in a regular two-way or a back and forth conversation. I'm listening, you're talking, I'm listening, and it has to be a meaningful communication. It has to be meaningful. We can't stress that enough. So that, again, we're going back to everything involves student academic learning, student academic achievement, and providing other school activities. So family engagement is involvement, involving our families, involving our parents, involving our stakeholders, our community members, and everything it is that we do to develop our students and to help them achieve academic content growth. So with this family engagement, these are the things that we're ensuring after we are involving and making sure that we have meaningful conversation, back and forth conversation. It ensures that our parents know that they play a very invaluable part of their child's learning. They are important to us. We need you. It ensures that they know that we want our school system, our schools, our buildings to be a welcoming place for our parents. We want our parents to feel welcome when they come in. We don't want to shun them away. We want them to feel as though their voice matters, that we take into consideration all the things that you know, all the things that you're giving us about your child, because you are your child's best advocate and you know your child better than we do. So you are important to us. With that involvement and that two-way meaningful conversation back and forth, we're ensuring that we're encouraging you to be involved. We're encouraging you to come out and support your child. Now, I know a lot of you might say, I can't make the meetings because of the way I work or because of my job, the timing. Showing up and being there does not always mean you have to be present. Emailing those parents. What's going on with Johnny today? I saw that Johnny didn't do his homework or Johnny had this in his agenda. That two-way conversation, emailing that parent, showing up for those meetings, those parent conferences. You might not be able to show up, but you can certainly get on the phone and talk to the teacher and find out exactly what's happening, what's going on, how you can be beneficial to your child's success and the learning, and then provide additional things that you can do to assist your child at home. And finally, with the parent involvement and the two-way communication, meaningful communication back and forth, we're ensuring that you know that you are our partner. You are a full partner in every decision that is made concerning your child, whether it be on our advisory committees, assisting the education of your child, whether it be attending those fall festivals, attending those Link to Learning meetings that we're going to talk about later on the next slide. Whatever it is, we want you to know that you are our partners. We join you. We both carry the responsibility as teachers, as parents, as students, and as community members in the education of our students and ensuring that they are making growth on those academic standards. And finally, carrying out other activities that are described in section 1116 of ESSA, which is discussed on the next slide. Ms. Jones, next slide, please. So with parent and family engagement, Title I says that these are six, we call them six shalls. This means that this is what we will do. And this is a requirement. So I'm not going to read them. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase them a little bit for you. So if you're looking at number one, it says that we're going to provide assistance to parents. We're going to make sure that you understand the topics about academic standards, the assessments, and how to monitor your child's progress. This is known as building parent capacity. And this is demonstrated in your very first meeting, which is, all of them are important, but your annual Title I orientation meeting is very, very, very important. This is where you're going to gather the information you need. In that meeting, is going to talk about the requirements of Title I, what Title I is, the what's offered at each school. So that's building the parent capacity. Number two, the state says that we will provide materials and training to work with our parents so that our parents will be able to work with their children at home. That way we are ensuring that we are decreasing the educational gap and our students are making gains. So this is part of building parent capacity as well. And this is what we called our link to learning meetings. What that means is that every meeting that you have that's considered a link to learning meeting, you should leave with some type of strategy, some type of intervention, some type of make and take resource, something that you can take home and work with your child at home. This is where we meet our students where they are. So in our previous slides, we talked about how we use all of our energies and all of our resources and to ensure that our children are making gains. This is part of that, building the parent capacity. If you look at number three, the third shall, it says simply that we're going to educate our staff. This is called building our staff capacity. Now, with this, we want to make sure we provide our staff with tips on how we can organize meetings, tips about how we can communicate effectively. And that's a word that we want to highlight, the effectiveness of our communication, making sure that parents understand the expectation of the students and making sure that we understand the wants, the needs of the parents, and making sure that we collaborate and work together. So that's called building staff capacity, and we provide for that as well. If you look at number four talks about providing these resources, different types of parent involvement programs. One big thing that we are highlighting this year, and we're going to push forth with vigor next year, is our parent resource centers. The majority of our schools have built those. If I can just spotlight South Salem real quick, I was there at one of their meetings, and they actually have 5 to 10 parents that actively come in and check out materials. If your student or if your child may have a deficit or struggling just a little bit with some reading comprehension, there are tools, strategies, resources for reading comprehension that you can just go in, check out, work with your child at home, bring them back, check them in. But you must speak with each school's principal or admin to find out the time that their parent resource centers is open. I think South Salem does like a 9 to 1 o'clock, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And parents are able to come in and go through and view the materials that are listed there. But they have materials that touch on the social, emotional learning part. Some schools have materials that talk about bullying, talk about how parents can speak to their children about their behavior. I think one book I read talked about how to teach your child to drive. So there are a lot of lots of information that's available in those parent resource centers and in those resource rooms. If you look at slide number 5, it is talking about making sure that during our meaningful two-way communication, that we are communicating in a language that you understand or in a format that you understand. We try our best to ensure that we are covering our Spanish population as well as our English population. However, should there be a need for an additional language, we have access to those as well. We have interpreters that are being used for meetings, whether they be virtual or whether they be in person. We have those available as well. And then when you look at number 6, it just says provide other reasonable support for parent involvement activities. So with that being said, parents will have to tell us, I need this, or do you all support me with whatever your need may be. Give us the opportunity to support you, because we want you to know that you are valued and you are welcome into our schools. Next slide, please, Ms. Jones. So with all of that said, we've talked about what Title I is. We've talked about the school-wide plans. We've talked about how the funding is dispersed and used via the school. We also made mention that Title I is for all students. Now we're going to talk about the policy and school compacts. And parent and family engagement policy, we have a school policy as well as a district policy. Our parent and family engagement policy is simply just a written policy or a written explanation that talks about how the district is going to support the role of our parents as we educate their children. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So with the school parent compact is a written agreement that goes a step further and talks about the responsibility of the parent, the teacher, the other stakeholders, the administration, talks about that, how we're going to collaborate and how we're going to continue our meaningful two-way back and forth conversation between our school staff and our parents. Next slide, please. So, with all of that being said, I'm sure you're asking the question, well, Ms. McKnight, I heard you say all of these things. I heard you talk about building parent capacity. I heard you speak about building staff capacity. I heard you speak about link to learning meetings. I heard you talk about strategies, interventions, parent resource rooms. What other activities are offered via our parent and family engagement program? Like I said, you guys are on it. You are asking some amazing questions, and I happen to have answers. If you're looking here, as I spoke before, our annual Title I parent orientation meeting is very, very, very important. It is so important that if you did not or do not get the opportunity to attend that meeting, they record it and then they put the PowerPoint up on their website. So each school should have their orientation, parent orientation, on their website for you to go back and for you to review, just in case you need clarification on a few things. So during this Title I parent orientation meeting, again, it's the first meeting of the year. And this meeting provides information regarding our services that we offer, the different types of programs, and the different events that are offered per each school. Secondly, I want to speak about parent and teacher conferences. This is where families and teachers have the opportunity to talk about their child's progress and address any school parent compact policy questions that you may have. This is the opportunity for you to have that two-way meaningful conversation with your child's teacher. Your teacher will be able to provide you with different resources, different strategies, to just kind of tell you where you are and where your child is and where we want them to be, where we're trying to get them. And then they can refer you to different resources and different outlets to assist you in that endeavor. Finally, I've been talking about the Link to Learning meetings. And remember, I said you should never walk away from either meeting, any meeting, without being provided some type of strategy, some type of activity, or some type of tool that you can use at home to assist. Everything goes back to that student achievement or student growth. And I just listed here a few examples. Each school gives them different names, and I just love the names. Some have the Baddie for Books Night. Some talk about Parent Patrol, the Midnight Madness Reading. Porterdale just had that last night. Their Math Literacy Night, Reading Under the Stars. The high schools and the middle schools often talk about different strategies and test-taking tips for our Georgia Milestones tests that are coming, our Iowa assessments that we've held, that have been held, and just in general, any type of assessment that our students take. We try to cover all those bases. And those are called, when we do them primarily face-to-face, those are called our primary meetings. That means we're meeting face-to-face and we are providing you with different types of strategies. So the next time you're at you are attending a meeting, I want you to make sure that you are walking away with something in your hand that you can take back to use with your child at home. And finally, the last meeting of the year is our annual stakeholders input, revision, and development meeting. This is so important. All of the meetings are important, and we want you to attend as many as you can. We want you to attend all of them if possible. But this stakeholders meeting and this revision meeting, this is where we give you have the opportunity to provide your input. During these meetings, they talk about the data, they talk about the growth. Each school says that they're going to measure their growth by 3% in ELA and math. I'm just using that as an example. And then they talk about that. They let you see, they talk about the assessment that they use. Some of them use Iowa assessment to determine their growth. Some may use a Georgia milestone to determine their growth. And some may use other types of assessment. But they talk about that during that meeting. They talk about the Title I school-wide plan. They talk about each school's plan, what their plan is to ensure that they're going to meet the 3% student growth achievement. They discuss that. They talk about their school parent compact. The school parent compact discusses, it's broken down and it's grade specific. So if it's elementary and it's saying first grade, these are the things that we're going to do to ensure that we are increasing our student achievement, and so forth and so on for each grade level. And then each grade level provides you with strategies, the resources, the interventions that they're going to use to get them to student achievement, student growth. They talk about that as well. They talk about our comprehensive improvement plan, which is our CLIP. That's just where the district talks about, they come up with a plan and they say, these are the goals that we have in mind. We want to increase achievement in reading and math. And then and it's approved by the State Department. And then each school goes to their school compact and develop the objectives that they're going to use to meet that goal, which is to increase student achievement by 3% in ELA in math. And I'm just using those two. Then we go to talk about ways that we can build our staff capacity. What other opportunities can we provide to our staff that will include our parents, that will give them more knowledge as to ways to involve our parents. And then we go on and talk about the 1% budget allocation of funds. What that is, that's just the 1% reservation funds. The Title I funding gives us 1% of the total funds to use for parent involvement. So again, this meeting is very, very important because parents get the opportunity to ask questions. So you get the opportunity to say, how did you all spend your 1% of the money you receive from Title I for parent involvement? And parent involvement, again, goes back to student achievement. How did you all spend those funds? And then you get the opportunity to say, hey, maybe we should use the funds for this, or maybe we should use the funds for that. You get that opportunity. You get the opportunity to ask them, so what does this mean when you talk about two-way communication? What does this mean when you talk about comprehensive improvement plan? What does this mean when you talk about a policy? You get the opportunity to ask those questions during this meeting. Next slide, please, Ms. Jones. So again, I think I got a little bit ahead of myself talking about the stakeholder input and development meeting, but I'll just kind of recap here. So all parents, we encourage all parents to participate and provide suggestions and ideas on how we can improve our policy. Maybe there are some things that you would like to share that we haven't thought about or that will enhance our current policy. Maybe you have those suggestions. But during this meeting, these are the items that will be discussed. As I've already said, we'll talk about the school and parent engagement policy, the CLIP, the compact, the 1% parent allocation, which is that reservation of funds I spoke about earlier, building our staff capacity. Remember, we talked about being educators. We are lifelong learners. We want to be on the cusp and the cutting edge of everything new and everything that is evidence-based that we can use as we vigorously try to find different resources and tools to assist our children to close that educational gap as they continue to achieve in all academic areas. Then I've already spoken about the Title I school-wide improvement plan. And then we talk about a parent survey. Now, the parent survey consists of about 15 to 16 questions. So it's going to ask you, after you have been a part of the stakeholders meeting, then it's going to ask you these questions, and then you'll respond. Now, the window for this is April the 17th through the 28th. There will be a link given to each school, so Clements won't be able to see Cousins' responses. Eastside won't be able to see East Newton responses. So it is geared towards each school. Each school will have a link, and it will be posted by April the 17th. That's the window. It will be posted, and we encourage you to make sure that you go to your respective schools and click on that link and fill in the survey. We encourage you. We need you to do that. If you aren't that tech savvy and you don't want to go to the website and use the link, just let your schools know they have hard copies for you as well. And it is in English and Spanish. And should you need an additional language, please let someone know so that we can make sure that we are meeting your needs there. So comments and minutes from these meetings will be reviewed by the district to determine areas of need for our upcoming school year and consider changes to the family engagement budget. So please make sure, I want to impress upon you once again, the parent survey window will be between April the 17th through the 28th. Next slide, please. So as we wrap up, gosh, that went fast, didn't it? As we wrap up, I just wanted to make sure that you had additional information and resources here. So just go and visit our Newton County Systems website, Title I, and you will find information listed here about the Family School Partnership Program, our department personnel, our school-wide program, the resources that we have available, fraud procedures and complaints and procedures. Now, I also wanted to put here just an excerpt of what you should see when you go to each school. You should see this information here. Remember, I talked about the school-wide plan. I talked about your parent orientation PowerPoint. The school handbook, your parent and student handbook is there, listed in English and Spanish, and then those school compacts, which are grade specific, and the right to know letter. That just simply means you have the right to know who is teaching your child and if they are certified to teach a specific content area, and the stakeholders input form. So you will later see listed here the parent survey window for the 22-23 school year, again, which will be open from April the 17th through April the 28th. Okay. Next slide. All right, that's it for me. Thank you all so much for attending. Thank you so much for lending your ears. Again, my name is Wanda McKnight. My information is listed at the bottom should you need additional information, want to speak with me, have some ideas, want to just find out a little bit more information about what it is that we do over here in Title I land. We love Title I. Thank you.